All right, guys, Wes here. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to talk about Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom's huge secret. With the release of every single new Zelda game, there comes with it a ton of mysteries to be solved. And after the 6-year-long development cycle for this game, that also seems to be the case. To say that Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has a ton of secrets to be solved is nothing short of an understatement. So in this video, we're going to be doing just that. We're going to take the footage from the trailers and the marketing materials, and we're going to uncover the biggest secret with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. As a quick disclaimer, I will not be covering any of the information covered in the leak that happened with the art book. This is only going off of official sources via marketing material in the form of trailers and different images that were posted by Nintendo. So if you guys have been trying to go off of just official information from Nintendo and nothing too spoilery, then this is the perfect video for you. Also, real quick, guys, I'm giving away a PlayStation 5 for 100,000 subscribers. We are getting very close. So if you guys would like to win a PS5, the details are in the pinned comment. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, comment your Twitter handle, and then tweet me proof that you're subscribed, and that will enter you for a chance to win. Tears of the Kingdom has been in development for almost 6 years, and its journey has been a little up and down. There are some conflicting theories as to whether or not the game actually started development as a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, but we know for certain that a lot of the gameplay mechanics were born out of unused DLC ideas, specifically for the previous game. Now, apparently the DLC in the works for Breath of the Wild was just too big and innovative to be released as an expansion for Breath of the Wild, and the decision was made to turn them into a brand new Zelda game. At some point in development, be it immediately or a little ways after the production started, the decision was then made to make the next Zelda game a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, which they most famously did with games like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. This weird approach of storytelling is kind of how we ended up getting the incredibly strange timeline of Zelda games, and Breath of the Wild served as kind of a reset for everything thus far. So I guess it does make sense to directly continue it, especially considering the fact that according to some theories, this game is actually set to completely loop the Zelda timeline. So not only would Zelda Tears of the Kingdom be a direct sequel for Breath of the Wild, but it would also serve as a prequel to Skyward Sword, which would effectively loop the timeline, hence the logo having the Zonai dragons that are eating each other, which is one of the reasons the developers didn't want to give away the title too early, as the title is allegedly a teaser in itself. Now, as I stated, this is just a fan theory, but what if I said that that wasn't even the huge secret I'm talking about? Now, to briefly set the stage, one of the biggest criticisms I'm seeing with Tears of the Kingdom is that a lot of the marketing material we have seen only makes the game look like it's a big expansion of Breath of the Wild, rather than a whole new installment to the Zelda series. Thanks to the recent Nintendo Direct, we have a lot of new information to go off of regarding how the gameplay is going to be for the next game. Now, I'll be talking about the theories regarding dungeons returning in Tears of the Kingdom, as well as the underground being a massive element to Tears of the Kingdom, as well as the Sky Islands. But instead, I'd like to talk about one gameplay feature that can not only increase the longevity of this game, but also fix, or rather repair, one of the biggest issues in Breath of the Wild, and that is the weapon degradation system. But what if I told you that Tears of the Kingdom is already looking to resolve that issue in the form of weapon crafting and weapon repairing? Now, if you take a look at this shot in the trailer, you see that there's multiple enemies that seem like they have weapon-like horns on their head. Now, this could very well be just a coincidence, but this seems way too consistent and deliberate to just be a stylistic choice. Some enemies have an axe-shaped horn, while others have spear-shaped horns. We saw a samurai sword and just a regular sword, so you kind of get the idea. Now, there's other shots in the trailer that shows a bokoblin that's mining for some precious materials, which confirms two things. One, that there's going to be farming for materials in the game, and two, we're going to be able to use those materials to create different weapons. Now, if this theory is correct, and let's say you take a bokoblin and you kill it, and instead of it dropping monster parts, it's dropping weapon parts. So in Tears of the Kingdom, we'll be able to defeat enemies, and then we'll be able to use their horns as crafting resources to make weapons and tie that into the new crafting system. This would not only keep the combat engaging, but it would also keep it rewarding, while also preventing you becoming overpowered too quickly. Obviously, there's going to be weapon degradation still, but this also confirms the fact that there's going to be some sort of repairing system. One of the central themes to Tears of the Kingdom is rebuilding something that's broken. Obviously, we have the Master Sword, rebuilding a calamity broken Hyrule, as well as the entire Zelda timeline itself. Now, if you look at the Zonai vehicle as well as the Zonai drone, you see a sort of sticking agent being used on various vehicles throughout the trailers, and it's very likely this same sticking agent could be what we use to make weapons out of enemy horns and loot drops. There's even a brief part of the trailer where you see a sword being used as a shaft of an axe, which kind of suggests that we'll be able to stick things onto existing weapons to make brand new ones. A lot of the metal items in the game seem to be corrupted by malice, so when you mix that together with the sticking agent that's been seen through the trailers, as well as the various weapon-shaped horns on enemies' heads, it's starting to look more and more like an elaborate weapon crafting system is upon us. A recent article from Game Rant made somewhat of a strange comparison, but it's one I actually agree with. From all of the early footage we've seen of vehicles in Tears of the Kingdom, it seems like the crafting and creation system is going to be very similar to that of Banjo-Kazooie truly nuts and bolts. Now, if you're like me, you probably were wishing that you never have to think about that game again, but to its credit, it featured a very elaborate vehicle creation system, with the various crafting parts around Tears of the Kingdom and the emphasis on creating your own tools and equipment pieces. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we get to make our own vehicles in a similar fashion to Nuts and Bolts. So not only are we getting a weapon crafting system, but we're also getting a vehicle crafting system as well. So from just the official marketing for Tears of the Kingdom, to say that it's still a DLC or an expansion is a massive slight to what Nintendo has created. Now this all leads me to my next topic. While Tears of the Kingdom may be using the same art style as Breath of the Wild, the graphics have pretty clearly been overhauled and beefed up to represent a more next-gen experience. Breath of the Wild was already a gorgeous game, but it was obviously held back a bit by the technical power of the Switch and the Wii U. Granted, the art style did a great job masking some of those technical shortcomings, but now that the hardware has been out for a little bit and there's a new model in the form of the Switch OLED, which to clarify is not an upgraded system, the screen just looks better in handheld mode, Nintendo's team is putting tons of hours into making sure Tears of the Kingdom is just as beautiful as any other open world game you want to play. Judging by the early footage, draw distance seemed to be increased from Breath of the Wild, allowing you to see things much further away and reducing pop-in. Textures on trees and other pre-existing items also seem to be improved, as just about everything that's rolled over from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom looks sharper and crisper. Now again, the Nintendo Switch isn't the most technically powerful machine on the planet by a long shot, but now that the game doesn't have to run on the Wii U as well, and the developers have had more time to experiment with the hardware, even patenting a new graphical image processing system that is likely being used for Tears of the Kingdom, a ton of graphical updates have been made to make the experience more immersive. Now, while I'm comparing the technical aspects, one major detail came out a few days ago that not a lot of people are talking about. According to data miners on Reddit, the exact file size for Tears of the Kingdom has been confirmed, and it's currently weighing at 18.2 gigabytes. This was later confirmed by UK Nintendo eShop that officially claimed you would need 18.6 gigs of free space to download the new Zelda game. Compared to other AAA games like Call of Duty and Halo, 18.6 gigs is nothing, but you have to remember that this is the Switch we're talking about. Switch games are generally a lot smaller than you would see on other platforms, and for reference, Breath of the Wild weighed in at 14.7 gigs, so Tears of the Kingdom is already making a pretty big jump. So make sure you have close to 20 gigs of free space available on your Switch in May, because Tears of the Kingdom is going to be the biggest first-party Nintendo game ever released. So to continue saying that it's just a big expansion for Breath of the Wild is just a slight to Nintendo and everything that they've been working on for the past 6 years. Now, I'd like to briefly talk about the biggest leak that happened with Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not going to go over any of the spoilers, but I want to just vaguely address it. Now, if you're still skeptical about Tears of the Kingdom and you still think it's a big expansion, then I implore you, check out the leak, scroll through a few pages, and then after that, tell me it's a big expansion, because you would be lying to yourself. Nintendo has worked on this game for 6 years. The development cycle was about the same time as Breath of the Wild, and to say that it's anything less than a new installment to the Zelda series is a slight to Nintendo, as well as all of the developers that have been spending their time working on this game. Next up, I want to talk about a new pre-order bonus for Tears of the Kingdom at GameStop. Now, as time goes on and the release date gets closer, I'm sure we're going to see a ton of pre-order bonuses pop up from different retailers, but buying the game from GameStop already kind of has an appeal. By pre-ordering any version of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom at GameStop, you'll get an exclusive wooden plaque with a pretty cool carving on it. I know it probably seems lame to get a piece of wood along with your Zelda Tears of the Kingdom copy, but it honestly looks like a prop straight out of the game itself with some really awesome markings and carvings. If you're a diehard Zelda fan, you'll probably get a kick out of this one, especially if you're a collector. I would recommend checking it out. Now, if you're not a fan of physical merchandise and copies of games, then your best bet is just to pre-order it on the eShop like I'm doing. So what do you guys think about all this? Are you excited for Tears of the Kingdom, or are you just one of those nervous ones who doesn't know if the game is going to be worth the hype? Personally, I will buy every product for Nintendo, and I might have some blinders on when it comes to Zelda, but I truly feel like Nintendo and the developers are going to knock this game out the park. And the fact that there's going to be vehicle crafting, weapon crafting, and just farming in general, that is going to be an aspect of this game that I am super excited about. But obviously, I'm going to reserve all final judgments until the game comes out and after I've tried it, but I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. But yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up with this video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel with your notifications turned on. And also be sure to enter the 100,000 subscriber giveaway. I'm giving away a PlayStation 5 and a game copy of your choice, so if you'd like to enter, check out the pinned comment for all of the details. Thank you all for watching, guys. This has been Wes, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.